What's up, everybody? Michael Silva here. Are precious metals and miners going to be crashing more? We're going to have some charts to be focused on to help us determine whether or not they will start falling further. And let me tell you this, if they do start falling further, there's going to be some big opportunities in the making. Let's hop into today's show. All right, everybody, welcome back. The chart in focus is one I talk about frequently. This is the US dollar, all right? And we're looking at some bigger time frames. And some of the other charts I'm going to show you probably have not seen before. Let's get into this. So the US dollar recently broke an upsloping trend, okay? When the dollar, and why we're looking at the dollar, when the dollar goes up, and it goes up in a forceful move, that typically puts pressure on commodities, including gold and silver. When it falls, and it falls rapidly, gold and silver, especially miners, they can do very well. Now, why am I pointing the dollar out on the monthly time frame? Well, on the shorter term, the 5-month moving average, it is inclining. The price action is currently above it. So the short-term trend is actually pretty bullish here. And every time that there's been a PPO, a crossover, which we recently had one, the dollar moves up with some force, as you can see, during these periods of time. So one has to wonder if this crosses over the dollar, it could potentially break out and go higher, which can put pressure on gold, silver, and the miners. The US dollar, now this is also on the monthly time frame, and you're going to see some lines. These are known as anchored VWAPs, volume weighted average price, but we're also including the anchor so it incorporates time. So we can look at these lines and determine what the average person paid since a specific date. So if you look right here at the peak in 86, right over here, 86, 85, 87, right around here, follow this line down and look where the current price is. So the average buyer in this huge time frame, it's an area of resistance. Now that's important because that means, I know you can see it acted as resistance multiple times and support. So it's clearly a level that we want to keep an eye on, because if we start getting above it, well, it can act as support. And also, we can see breakouts take place. Now, I also put an anchored VWAP here at the pandemic peak. And when the pandemic peaked, the average buyer were right there. We're pinned right there underneath it. So that 93.18, 93.50, let's call it, is clearly a big area of resistance. So if we get above it, that could force momentum buyers to step in. And if the dollar spikes up higher, like I said, that can really put pressure on gold, silver, and miners. Now, also to note, I wanted to take off this peak. So this was during the dot-com bust. And we're pointing the peak right here in the 2001 to 2002 range. Now you can see here it acted as resistance, resistance, resistance. But when we broke above, we saw a big forceful move. Then it came back, and look what it did. It acted right as support. And then we broke above, broke back down, and it's been pinned between these two levels. So this right here, 89 and 93.50, these levels are big turning points for the dollar, and we're coiling up. So the break either below it or the break above it can signify some pretty impactful moves in gold, silver, and the miners. Now let's look at the gold. Okay, the peak right here, the average buyer is up. Okay, because there's been a lot of buying since that point, and the price is way up here. So the average buyer, the average price is at $14.33 since that peak here in 2011. Okay, now the average buyer that bought up here at the peak, the recent high, is now underwater. Okay, so that's pretty bearish for anybody that's been buying from that peak. Okay. Now, what I also noted was on this 1350 level right here, this line going across the screen, that acted as resistance. You can see it also matched in with the anchored VWAP from this peak. You can see it was resistance, resistance, resistance. This is a very important level here. And then I measured the VWAP from the breakout point, signified a specific good key level, and price action is still above it. And it acted as support here, 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 and recently here, which I was a buyer right here. So if this breaks below 1677, that can force the price down further. And if that is the case, well, we've got to keep an eye on the dollar, because that would probably signify that the dollar is starting to move higher. And now if gold really starts coming down, this will be a big time buying opportunity down here at 1433 down to 1350. Then silver. Silver looks very interesting to me. Silver's been breaking down pretty significantly, but if I measure from this low during the financial crisis, but then also the high, look where it lines up perfectly. The average buyer from these two areas is still up on the position. And that comes down to 21.12 to around 20. And that also signifies a significant breakout area, right? It acts as resistance here, resistance, then we broke out. So if silver keeps coming down, sentiment is going to get more bearish, and that could present down here actually a really good buy the dip opportunity or the opportunity to accumulate more at a reduced cost. The last chart I want to go over is the gold miners bullish percent index. This isn't signifying panic yet, but it's not far off. So when it gets to this 25 range, it's typically an opportunity to buy. You can see that right here on, just before April, that actually signified a good move on the GDX, which is just the gold miners index. You can look at SIL, SILJ, GDXJ, etc. Or you can just look at individual gold and silver miners because the individuals can rally significantly more. And also here on the pandemic, we saw a big spike down to the downside. So RSI is getting oversold. This is also coming to a buy zone, but the panic's not really there yet. So maybe one more force to the downside can create one heck of an opportunity. Today's video was brought to you in partnership with Apollo Silver. First and foremost, I just want to thank the sponsor of this video. The support means a lot to me. I am being compensated to bring public awareness to Apollo Silver. No, I do not own any of the preferred stock, warrants, or common stock at this time. Apollo Silver Corp is focused on providing shareholder value through advancing pure play silver projects in mining-friendly American jurisdictions. Apollo Silver has assembled an experienced and technically strong leadership team who have joined together to advance its portfolio of 3 significant silver projects. These are comprised of the historical Waterloo and Langtree projects in the Calico Mining District in San Bernardino County, California, and the Silver District project in La Paz County, Arizona. All 3 projects have significant historical, geological, and drilling databases and have large exploration upside within underexplored land packages. Andrew Bowering is the chairman of Apollo Silver. Since 2011, here are just some of the companies that he was involved with since the founding. Right here you can see listed at the bottom of the page, American Lithium. That was a TSX Venture 50 company the last 2 years, which Andrew founded at about a $15 million market cap and now trades at a $300 million market cap. Earlier this year, it was a $600 million market cap, and recently it was acquired by Plateau Energy for $100 million. Prime Mining Corp is also a TSX Venture 50 company in 2020. Andrew founded at a $10 million market cap, and now that trades at around $375 million market cap, which is obviously a large increase. A couple other companies to name that were also TSX Venture 50 companies was CapEx Iron Ore Corp, as well as Millennial Lithium Corp. Also involved in the Apollo Silver management team are executives that came from Robert Friedland's companies. Now, if you don't know who Robert Friedland is, I would just recommend doing a quick Google search or pulling up a Wikipedia page. He is one of the tycoons in the mining industry, a big-time mega billionaire. The CEO of Apollo Silver is Tom Paragodoff. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. He was instrumental for the Robert Friedland organization and was a high level at BHP Billiton, which was one of the largest mining conglomerates in the world. Now, being that mining is a business that ultimately succeeds and fails according to the management team, the bottom line is that because of the caliber of the board and directors and management, institutions practically lined up to participate in this financing. Here's the capital structure. Institutions own 28%, management and directors 18%, and high net worth strategic partners is 27%. Some of the financiers of this was Sprott, Jupiter Investments UK, a New Brunswick-based pension fund, Crescat Capital, Desjardins Group, which is based out of Quebec, billionaire investor Carlos Civelli, Terra Capital from Australia, Commodity Capital, Luxembourg. If you head over to the Apollo Silver website, which is apollosilver.com, and hit on the news section, you'll see on September 14th was the most recent news drop, and this was titled Independent Technical Review Provides Increased Confidence in Historic Resource Calculations. And if you just look at the highlights, it looks like there's increased confidence in historic estimates of the silver mineralization at both the Waterloo and the Langtry projects made by previous operators based on completion of the preliminary 3D geology models of both projects by an independent consulting group, creation of an independently verified drill NSA database combining data for both, planning underway for a comprehensive geophysical program, and engagement in the Lilburn Corporation of San Bernardino as permitting and environmental consultants, and commencement of permitting application process. One of the words from Apollo CEO, Tom, he said he's extremely pleased with the progress that they are making. One other piece before we get into the projects, Kathy Fitzgerald, she's the VP Exploration and Resource Development. She added, the preliminary results of the data compilation and analysis work has provided further confidence in the quality of the historic data for the projects. That data, combined with our developing geological model, will provide a solid foundation for Apollo to optimize its strategy for defining its maiden resource estimation program and refine its upcoming drill program. Now, the company in coming months and recently has been engaged in three main de-risking and value-adding activities, and that has to deal with drilling, also issuing an NI 43101 report on resources. And that's going to basically hits historical silver resources up to a standard code and basically legitimize the over 100 million of ounces of silver the company owns. And then third was looking into making additional acquisitions for further builds, further build its North American project portfolio. So let's hop into their projects. So some key bullet points here is that Apollo Silver and Gold purchased their projects from Pan American Silver. California is where the Calico is based out of. They also have a property in Arizona, but California is ranked 4th in the U.S. for mineral production in 2020. And in 2020 as well, mining contributed to around $13.6 billion in GDP. California offers mining companies access to clean power, infrastructure, skilled labor, and transportation networks. They have robust environmental and labor laws drive high operating standards for this sector. Several companies of varying size are actively progressing projects in this state. Equinox Gold actually started a commercial production at their Castle Mountain mine in 2020. This is Calico Silver, and you can see the two different properties right here, the combination of the Waterloo and Langtry properties. This is the first time that the two assets have been under common ownership. 3,000 acres are under control with a combined 6,000 meter mineralized strike. Mineralization open to depth and along that strike. A couple bullet points on the location is that it's well placed relative to infrastructure in the mining-friendly jurisdiction, 9 miles from Barstow and 145 miles from Los Angeles and Las Vegas. So access to the properties is via paved roads for the majority of the distance from Barstow. Commercial electric power is available within 3 miles of the property, and other mines of note in the region include SV Minerals, Searless Lake Projects, and Equinox Gold Castle Mountain, and Mesquite Gold Mines, which is San Bernardino County, and Rio Tinto Boron Mine, that's near the border of San Bernardino County. Historical data from both these properties can be analyzed in a broader geological context. 44,000 meters of previous drilling, over 468 drill holes combined. So both the Calico and the Arizona Silver properties sit on large, both on large properties with previous work indicating district scale potential. Apollo is led by a team that has that extensive experience in exploration and development across technical operations and financial disciplines. And Apollo already hit the ground running with a detailed plan to realize the value of these properties. If you'd like more information on Apollo Silver, you can go to their website, apollosilver.com. You can go over their corporate presentation. You can find out recent news that's posted. I'm going to put the link in the description below to their website. As always, please note that investing in any company, there is significant risk. So please do your due diligence and your research before putting your hard money to work. That's all I got for you. Have a wonderful day.